My friend Paul sells over $900K a month with Amazon Wholesale. He doesn't create his own product, run any ads, or do any marketing, or buy stuff from China. He just buys simple name brand products bulk from wholesalers and flips them on Amazon for a profit. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtains on Paul's massive operation and show you everything you need to know to get started with Amazon Wholesale this week, step by step, even as a complete beginner.
What's up, Paul? Thanks for joining me, man. Good to have you on the channel.
Thank you for having me.
We can see you got the full truckload of product going out to Amazon. In fact, give us the 360 view of the warehouse real quick too.
So this is where our production stations are located. And then we have all this inventory that's leaving our business tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
Absolutely. So Paul is an absolute animal with the wholesale business model at Amazon. So rather than what you guys normally see me talk about with Amazon online and retail arbitrage, Paul, do you want to describe how the wholesale business model works, actually buying product in bulk?
Yeah, so more or less, the business model of wholesale is you're buying from wholesale distributors, wholesale suppliers. So these are businesses that focus on business-to-business transactions that are servicing your everyday store that you walk into. So the Targets, the Walmarts, the Publix, the Krogers, those companies are working with either a manufacturer or a distributor and buying those products at wholesale and reselling them for a profit on the retail shelves. And that's exactly what I do. I'm buying from those same suppliers.
Yeah. So rather than buying stuff on like Kohl's, you're going on Google and searching like grocery distributor near me and then trying to purchase those products in bulk basically. So this is kind of like the graduated version of online arbitrage that you guys see me talk about, right? Do you mind describing some of the benefits of wholesale over the OA and RA model?
So one thing that we love about wholesale is that it gives us the ability to scale fairly quickly. So product that we sell, we can test it. We test 36 units. They sell well. Everything makes sense. We can go back to our supplier and buy more inventory. We can buy 228 units. We can buy 1,000 units. There's products that we sell 5,000 plus units of. So, if you do the math on a few dollars a sale on those products, they really add up quickly. And that's really the goal of this business model, is that you can test products, you can see if they work, and you can scale up fairly quickly.
Yeah. And so you said you did right around like 900K rev last month?
Yes.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane, right? So that's like over 100K profit, most likely, just absolutely bonkers and such. But obviously you didn't always start with the warehouse, the employees and stuff. So overall, how'd you get into selling on Amazon?
So initially I was drop shipping on eBay through wholesale and retail arbitrage, more or less, going in Sam's Clubs and BJ's and focusing on higher ticket products and making my margin between. And then I started to decide to move into wholesale drop shipping, where I was working with similar suppliers like these, but they were catered to shipping out individual orders, whereas in our business now we're buying pallets. So they would ship products to customers, and we had a really great business. And then at one point, unfortunately, it came to an end and we had to pivot. And for a long time, we wanted to start selling on Amazon. And at that point, we were forced to, if we wanted to continue being entrepreneurs. So we pivoted. We started in wholesale. We placed our first purchase order. It was not a great purchase order, lost money on it, but we just kept going and didn't give up.
Yeah, that's the cool part about online business, man, is that if you stick with it, right, very few people can commit to 6, 12, 18 months of not being good, which is the actual hack to actually get good, is taking the time when you're not good, and that lets you dig into like the nuance and really learn the business and such. And I just think it's hard, man, when you're getting started, right? You're doing retail arbitrage, you're doing like drop shipping like you were, or used books like I was. The people in your life are telling you like, man, you're going to be going into those thrift stores for 40 years. You're going to be doing the Nike out for 4 years. And that's such like an employee mindset, right? And that's why I think it's important to have people like you on the channel, where now you have employees, you have a warehouse, right? And it shows like the graduated version of the business model, basically. So can you talk through like how your business is set up in terms like employees, warehouse, virtual assistants and such, just so people can get a sense of what an operation at your scale actually looks like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have in-house full-time production employees that pretty much work on all this inventory. So all this inventory was produced by our employees. Inventory comes in the building, it's received from our employees. It's all staged and ready for production. So more or less products are flowing in our business to then get prepped. And once they're prepped, they head into our outbound section. And that's all, like I mentioned, that's all managed by our in-house employees. We also have virtual assistants that focus on sourcing new products and building purchase orders for our business. So there's a consistent theme of inventory leaving our business, and there's a theme of inventory coming in. So it's just a constant flow of getting more space back and buying more products, and just rinse, wash, and repeat.
Yeah, and utilizing those employees and virtual assistants to actually get your time back is key in the scaling process. What do you think is the first part of the business sellers should delegate, even if they're doing like OA or RA, right? Is it prepping products? Is it sourcing? Is it virtual assistants for admin work? How do you think about that?
The key focus is to really focus on things that don't make you money, right? So what I did was pretty much added up all the time that I spent on non-income producing things, and I focused on delegating that first, and then after that, I focused on anything that I could repeat with someone else. So in that scenario, I was focused on having our VAs source products and catalogs that I knew that were profitable. That way I knew I could get an ROI on their time compared to putting them onto a catalog that I've never sourced myself, because I don't know the outcome of that. I know the outcome of the supplier that we work with.
Sure. Okay. And then for the sellers that are already getting consistent sales with OA and RA, let's say they're doing like 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month rev to the point where they can live off it, right? Or close to where they can live off it. They want to start buying products in bulk. They want to get into wholesale, right? Where should you start in terms of finding suppliers? Because I'm sure that's the key to actually making the business work, is getting good suppliers, right? So where's the first step?
The first step is to really look around your local area. Like there's times where I'm looking, just driving on the highway, and I see companies I work with driving right past me. A tractor trailer driving right by that I look at and I'm like, oh, look at that company. They have it delivered tomorrow. So just being immersed in the world around you, just distribution, as well as using Google. Like Google is a fantastic search engine to really optimize how you look things up. And the majority of suppliers that we worked with or that we still work with today are all found through Google. And that's really the method. It's just sourcing wholesale beauty wholesale distributors, and just going down a rabbit hole, contacting these companies and, getting catalogs from them.
Yeah. And I remember you said you found one really good supplier on like the 10th page of Google, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. So you got to be digging, right? So what are just all the keywords that sellers should be looking to hit, right? Obviously, like distributor, wholesaler, supplier, bulk, grocery, right? But talk through like the main like 8 to 10 keywords folks should be looking up to find suppliers in their area.
Supplier, yeah. So pretty much everything that you said, the bulk, suppliers, distributors, wholesale, like any term that is going to be embedded with SEO. Like the big thing to pick up is that these businesses, these wholesale companies are not advertising to the person that's going into Publix. They're not even advertising to anyone, because Publix knows how to find the grocery distributor. So it's all built in the SEO of how they're presented on Google. So you need to think like a business. You can't think like a consumer. You got to think like a business and approach them as a business.
Sure. And then on the topic of approaching them like a business, what does it actually look like? Are we cold calling? Are we cold emailing? What's our pitch? Like, what are we saying?
So I think the best way to land suppliers is definitely calling. Just putting in that urgency of who you are, putting almost like a face to the conversation, even though you can't see someone on a phone call, but just hearing the tonality of your voice, like it goes a long way compared to people receiving hundreds and thousands of emails every single week from the same people that are just saying, hey, I'm looking to sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's the best way to approach these businesses. So taking the extra step, making a phone call, introducing yourself, and being professional really goes a long way in this business.
Sure. And then when you're actually saying it's like, okay, I'd like to open an account with you guys, what does it actually look like when you get a list of products? Like, how are you analyzing the products? Are you using bulk tools? Or like, what are you doing to actually make sure the items they have are profitable?
So what I like to do first is use software to get a gauge of the products I'm looking at. So what kind of brands do they carry? Am I looking at Axe? Am I looking at Dove? Am I looking at brands I've never heard of before? And what does the pricing look like? I want the big picture on what I just got access to. Because when you receive wholesale catalogs, they can be anywhere from 5,000 to 100,000 UPCs or product lines. So it's a little bit overwhelming. So using some software to just kind of digest what you just got access to is a great way to start, and then eventually get into manual sourcing, reverse sourcing, and doing these other methods to kind of narrow down that catalog easier.
Yeah, and the nice thing is if a lot of you guys are doing OA and RA already, you can start out by just calling those companies and seeing if they have a bulk buying program, which you'd be surprised. Some of these brands especially do, or they can give you a list of distributors, and that's a great place to start as well, on top of just checking your local area and such too. Another popular sourcing method that people have talked about in regards to wholesale suppliers is the trade show method. Can you break down what trade shows are and how you can find them and utilize them to find product?
Yeah, so first off, trade shows are essentially a conference where people are looking to exchange and trade, right? So a great thing about trade shows is that if a supplier or a brand or a vendor is going to a trade show, it means that they want to do business, right? That's why they're there. They're spending money to get there, flying out their employees. They're putting costs to booths. Like, they're allocating budget to these things. So they want to do business. Now, how to look up trade shows, it's very similar to finding suppliers, more or less just focusing on the business to business aspect of like SEO in Google. Going to a trade show, you really just want to consider that you want to make yourself uncomfortable, right? Shaking hands, creating conversations, and going above and beyond for yourself, because some of the best relationships you can find in trade shows, because there's nothing like shaking a hand, meeting someone, and then when you call them the following week, or if you place an order tomorrow with them, like that relationship, you just got so far ahead of the person that's sending an email.
Yeah, and the cool thing with wholesale is that it's all relationship based, right? So if a supplier likes you, you build a relationship, you might be able to get product cheaper, or you might be able to get access to the products first. They might be the first person they text their deals to, and then you get, specific alpha that you wouldn't normally get if you were just doing OA, where it's kind of just the products on the website and such. So what are the first steps in terms of getting that first wholesale account open for someone who's feeling super motivated? They just watch this video. Is it just go to Google immediately, or should they be looking up trade shows in the area? Or what do you think is the lowest hanging fruit, or should they be calling the brands they already do OA with?
I would say that the first thing to do is just go on Google. Go on Google and search distributors and make a list of suppliers. So don't find one supplier and then call them one supplier. Make a list of suppliers. Maybe it's 10 suppliers, 20 suppliers, 50 suppliers. It's a numbers game. The more numbers you have, the better the odds you have, right? So yeah. I would say around 10% of accounts you call will accept you. And of the 10%, like a small percentage of those will actually work. And that's why it's a numbers game, is that you just want to continue to make a massive leads list from Google Maps, these other methods, and then call them all at once. So if you have 100 leads, you're calling 5, 10, 15 leads back to back to back. So you're getting in a rhythm, compared to finding one supplier, calling one supplier, you get rejected, and you're like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of volume with any of this stuff to make it work, right? Like, what I honestly like about business is that at the end of the day, it is typically pretty simple, but it's a ton of work, right? So the cool part is that once you figure out the system, then it's just jamming inputs into there, right? And a lot of people won't do that. And that's why, guys like you and I, and hopefully a lot of people watching this that are willing to get after it, will see massive results and stuff. So I know we met about a year ago, and I was telling you, man, you got to be hitting Instagram hard. Got to be hitting Instagram hard. Now you got a couple of thousand followers. So where can people go ahead and follow you if they want to, follow more of your journey or catch up with you on some more wholesale stuff?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram where I post free content to get value from wholesale. You can just follow me at Realize Profits, as well as I have a Discord community that's free, that if you want to join, ask questions, you're more than welcome to get in, and I love to help you on your journey with wholesale.
Yeah, so go follow my boy right there, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys at a trade show here in the future. And such appreciate you guys watching, and thanks a lot for doing the video, Paul.
Thank you. Take care.
Hope this video was helpful, guys. If you want more free content, check out my full ungating tutorial right here and my full free course right here. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.